Okay, so this is a project I've been putting together over my time and experience. What this is it's a real no-nonsense survival kit with many redundant features in all the important areas. Now, so a few things in this will change, and I will replace, but I'll quickly go through what I have in this survival kit. And this is something that if you have in your car, if you have this in your car, you have it in your backpack, or anytime you separate from your backpack. And the new case that I have will be something like a butt pack with a shoulder strap real quick. But it's only a couple pounds. If you leave camp, if you leave or you get yourself in a trouble situation and you have this, in most environments in the Northwest, you should be able to do a good job at surviving. Now, all these things are things that you need to train with, and they're not things that are cheap and untested. They work, and they're things that you want to replace and use on a regular basis. I will start from this end. Simply a couple of toothbrush packages. Then I have this, what they call a mini survival tool. I got it from my wife in my stocking. It's pretty neat. It also will help when it comes to map reading, and it's got a few extra little tools on it. I'm still investigating all the different uses for this. I am bringing a knife sharpener. This is a really pretty nifty little knife sharpener that works really well. Try not to sharpen my knives with it, and leave it just for the purpose if I need it out in the field. And here is some 100% DEET. You could have some, I could make it lighter and have some just the wipes for a few days, but you can never have enough of this if you're in trouble and you're in an area that you can't even stop to rest because the bugs are so bad. That being said, I also have a mosquito head net, and this will save your butt in the same instance. You know, if it's so bad with bugs, it's hard to work or get anything done, especially in midday sun or whatever. But you can throw this on, and it takes away so much of the hassle. This is some copper wire that is used for snares. It's got a little bit of weight to it. I have some fire starter. This is some pretty high potent stuff, and that's enough fire starter to start fires for quite a while, even in a very wet environment. I keep a couple of these warming pads, because if your gear's wet or you're worried about being cold in your shelter, you can tape one to your feet, tape one to the top of your head. Those are the important places to be warm. Or you put them in the bottom of your shelter with your sleeping bag with your wet boots and wet socks, and it'll be pretty warm. They really work well, and they stay hot for 10 hours easy. Over here I've got a signal mirror, and also notice that anything that I'll be taking out of this pack and using, everything's got a lanyard. I use 550 cord as lanyards for everything, and if you're like me and you lose stuff, especially in a stressful situation, I'd put my head on a lanyard if I could. Now, this was another gift from my wife. I am in the process of testing it. I've seen it used in the field by somebody, and basically it's a chainsaw blade with two handles, and I can use a couple of good sized logs that I can get my hand around, and it's done in this fashion, and I can use it as a saw. Here I've got some waterproof storm matches. I am particularly not fond of these ones. I think I will be trying a different brand real soon, but they're still very good to have. I've got a little scrubby pad and a couple of alcohol wipes. You never know what this will be useful for. Even if you're brushing your teeth or just in general, it's good to have a little scrubby pad. These are hand sanitizers, and they're part of being hygiene, which I usually cover in my first aid kit, but this is actually more for the snare wire. Cleaning my hands, cleaning the snare wire with it, getting all human scent, and in here I've got a couple of latex gloves I can put on and try to set that wire. From what I have my experience and the teachings that I've gotten, it's important to get all your scent away from a snare if you have any success of it working. Here I've got 3 chemical lights. They work for a long time, great for signaling during the dark. I've got probably 75 feet of 550 cord. What's great about 550 cord, and one of the things you can do with it, is you can make it your shoelaces. Because inside your 550 cord, if you cut off the end of it, I've melted the end of this one, you'll see that there's several strands of pretty high quality string in there. So if these are your shoelaces, or you need string like that, you can gut your shoelaces, still use the cover as your shoelaces, and then you've got a whole bunch of string that you can use. I've seen guys make nets out of it. I've seen I made a harp, a several stringed harp out of it during a survival, because they wanted you to do something recreational besides all the other stuff you're doing. So I made a harp and sat there and sang, and horribly. This is my fire starter. Thank you, Bear Grylls. I'm actually very happy with the way it works. I also have a Sharpie. Now you can write on stuff, write on wood, trees, whatever you need to. Leave messages. It's good to have this along with you. I have some iodine tablets for water. This is what loggers use to mark trees, just orange ribbon. But with this much ribbon, I can put out emergency signals on the ground. I can mark where I've gone, and so that way if I'm walking in circles, I see it because I've seen this tape before. Here is my fishing kit. It's waterproof, floatable, got a couple bobbers, which is important when you're doing survival type fishing, because sometimes you're just anchoring a line to the shore and leaving it out there with bait. So in this kit, got a lure, some swivels, some weight, a couple bobbers, and I have duct tape built up, which means I also have duct tape to use in my survival kit. And then I've got a decent amount of line that I can use. I can hand fish, like I've seen many times and only done a couple times, not with much success, but still working on it. I can hand fish off of this, or I can just use the line for basically fish traps. Other than that, in this kit, there's a couple things. I have the Swiss Army knife in here. I'm going to replace it with a some sort of Leatherman multi-tool, a smaller sized one, because the pliers would come in handy for all sorts of things. And I'm already never going to be without these other 2 items for sure. So the only other thing in here inside is 3 power bars. So in this kit, I'm addressing shelter in several places. I've got a saw to make shelter. I've got fire, redundant in a couple different ways. I've got a way to deal with water. I've got signaling, both day and night, also day signaling. Plus, sometimes it's just good to look at yourself. Under shelter, I've got a blanket. I've got protection from insects. I've got heat. So pretty much food, shelter, water, rescue, all of these things are covered. The only thing that I might add, especially if I learn how to finally play a harmonica, it's not bad to have something fun with you when stuff goes bad like this, you know, at night, and you're scared and your fire's going and you don't want to sleep and you want to make noise. Start singing badly and playing bad harmonica. That's what I do.